Man, the Indianapolis Colts are at a real crossroads, aren't they? After a 2025 season that was just electric, full of potential, they're now staring down an off-season that is going to define everything for them. This is it. This is the moment where they either build on that success and become a real contender or, they risk letting all that great momentum just fizzle out. And really, it all comes down to locking in two absolutely critical pillars of stability. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what those pillars are and why getting this right, well, it means everything for the Colts.
All right, let's get into it. Here's the game plan for today. We're going to kick things off by looking at this massive crossroads the Colts are standing at. Then we'll get right to the heart of it all, the quarterback question. And trust me, there's a huge risk factor tied to it that we need to unpack. From there, we'll pivot over to that second pillar, which is just as important, the coaching staff. And finally, we'll look at the path forward, the strategy the Colts are trying to pull off to make sure this all works. You know, that 2025 season, it was such a thrill ride. We got this incredible glimpse of what this Colts team could be. The energy was there, they had some huge wins, and you just got the feeling that, hey, this team might actually be for real. But here's the thing about the NFL, especially in a conference as tough as the AFC, momentum is a really, really slippery thing. So the challenge isn't just to do what they did last year, it's to build on it. It's about making that leap from being a tough team to play against to being a team that other franchises genuinely fear. And a transformation like that, it takes a perfect offseason.
So what are the two things, the two landmines that could just blow up the whole 2026 season before it even gets started? It really boils down to two words: leadership and continuity. You can have all the talent in the world on your roster, but if you don't have stability at the top, it can all just fall apart. For the Colts, they've got to lock down their leadership on the field, that's the quarterback, and their strategic leadership on the sideline, that's the coaching staff. If either one of those pillars even starts to wobble, the whole foundation is in trouble.
Okay, let's tackle the first and, let's be honest, the most talked about pillar, the quarterback. After the season he just put together, Daniel Jones isn't just an option for the Colts. No way. He became the absolute heart and soul of their offense, the centerpiece of everything they want to do in 2026. So if you really want to understand this offseason, you have to start by understanding just how critical he became to this football team.
Daniel Jones, wow. He was just a total revelation for the Colts in 2025. He came to Indianapolis on one of those classic one-year prove-it deals. The kind where a player's betting on himself with a whole lot of skepticism from folks around the league. And he didn't just answer the critics, he completely silenced them. The offense wasn't just a little better, it was explosive, it was dynamic. He led the team on this incredible 8-2 run that made the entire NFL sit up and take notice. This wasn't some fluke. It was a long stretch of elite play that turned the Colts into one of the most dangerous offenses out there. He was the guy who made it all go.
And look, when you actually put the options side by side like this, the choice becomes, well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? On one side, you've got Daniel Jones, a guy who just had his most accurate season ever, who is a perfect, proven fit in this offense, and who has gone on record saying he wants to come back. And on the other side, well, it's a whole lot of what-ifs. You've got former first-round pick Anthony Richardson, whose performance the sources called disappointing. Then behind him, you're looking at a sixth-round pick who we haven't seen play, and an undrafted rookie. From a pure football perspective, if your goal is to win games right now, this isn't even a real choice. It's a no-brainer.
And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Just listen to the general manager, Chris Ballard. Now, you know how these GMs talk, right? They're super careful, super measured with every single word. So for him to come out and say something this direct, calling him a really good fit with a really bright future, man, that's basically him shouting from the rooftops. It's not just a nice comment, it's a clear public message. He's telling the league he's our guy, and we plan on keeping him.
So it all sounds pretty simple, right? He played great, the team loves him, he wants to be there, sign the contract, let's go. Well, not so fast. There is one enormous franchise-changing problem. One massive variable that takes what should be a simple negotiation and turns it into a high-stakes poker game. He is recovering from a torn Achilles tendon. And that, my friends, changes everything. His 2025 season was, it was like a movie script. It's a total roller coaster. He starts by betting on himself with that one-year deal. And the bet pays off bigger than anyone could have imagined. He plays so well, he's probably thinking about a massive new contract, leading that amazing 8-2 charge. And then, week 14, disaster. One of the worst injuries an athlete can have. Now he's in this frantic race against the clock just to be healthy for training camp. It's just an unbelievable story with a completely unknown ending.
This right here, this is the real dilemma for the Colts front office.
I mean, put yourself in their shoes for a second. It is a genuinely tough spot. The memory of that dominant 8-2 run is so fresh in your mind, but the reality of an Achilles tear is absolutely terrifying, especially for a quarterback like Jones who uses his legs and his mobility as a weapon. This is the kind of injury that can change a player's career forever. So they have to decide if they're willing to risk a huge contract on a guy who might never be quite the same player again. It is a massive, massive gamble no matter what they decide to do.
Now, you would think that just dealing with the whole Daniel Jones situation would be more than enough drama for one offseason, but while all of that was going on, the Colts had another potential disaster that was quietly brewing in the background, the very real threat of their incredible coaching staff getting poached. This was the threat to that second pillar of stability, and boy, it came dangerously close to actually happening. To really get why this was such a big deal, you gotta understand the NFL's annual coaching carousel. It's like a game of musical chairs. This offseason, a full 10 teams hired new head coaches. And every time that happens, it sets off this feeding frenzy across the league for the best assistant coaches. And after the monster season the Colts had in 2025, their coaching staff basically had a giant target on its back. Every new coach wanted a piece of the magic that made Indianapolis so good. And this table right here, this shows you just how serious it was. We're not talking about maybe losing a position coach here or there. No. The Colts were in legitimate danger of losing their defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, to a head coaching job somewhere else. Their offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter, the guy who designed the very offense that Jones excelled in, was being courted by 2 different teams. And even their passing game coordinator, Alex Tanney, was getting calls. Losing that many key coaches at once, it would have been absolutely catastrophic. And then, the Colts just got flat out lucky. Seriously. A domino fell in their favor from halfway across the country. The New York Giants, who were looking at both Cooter and Tanney for their offensive coordinator job, decided to go in a different direction and hire Matt Nagy instead. And just like that, in one single move, the threat to the Colts' entire offensive brain trust just vanished. It is a perfect reminder of how connected this league is and how a decision made in one city can have a huge positive ripple effect for a team somewhere else. So, with the coaching crisis officially over, and that second pillar suddenly rock solid, the Colts could finally turn all of their attention back to solving the puzzle of pillar number 1, Daniel Jones. Now that the sideline was secure, the front office could finally roll out a focused, confident plan to lock in their quarterback and really solidify this team as a contender.
So what's the game plan? Well, it looks like a really smart 4-step approach. It's a careful balancing act. Step 1, and this is the most important one, the medical staff is going to be watching that Achilles rehab like a hawk. Step 2 is all about protecting the team. That means a shorter-term contract, something team-friendly without a ton of guaranteed money years down the road. But step 3 is about being fair to Jones. You load the contract with incentives that will pay him big time if he gets back to that elite 2025 level. And step 4 ties it all together, building in options that give the Colts flexibility for the future. It's a smart way to do it.
You know, when you really boil it down, this reunion just works for everybody. It just makes the most sense. For Daniel Jones, he gets to come back to the exact system, the exact coaches, where he had the best year of his career. It's the perfect place to rebuild his value. And for the Colts, they get to keep their starting quarterback, they keep that precious momentum going, and they avoid having to go on a long, messy, and expensive search for a new guy. It really is a win-win for both sides.
And that's what it all comes down to, right? That's the million-dollar question. If the Colts can pull this off, if they can successfully bring back Daniel Jones and keep this amazing coaching staff together, have they finally done enough? Have they locked in those 2 pillars of leadership so tightly that we can finally call them true top-tier contenders in a stacked AFC? That's the question this whole offseason is trying to answer. So what do you think? I want to know. Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button for NFL Nexus and like the video so you don't miss our next deep dive. And while you're at it, you can also help support the channel by checking out our coloring books. They are perfect for kids, grandkids, hey, even for adults too. You can find them using the link in the description or just scan the QR code that you see on your screen right now. Thanks so much for watching.